A lot
But
of happening on Sui announcement in the last 48 hours, with the
right,
Sui ball and the gaming Sui play. So I don't know, like it looks like there's a good momentum, but this is the last one to follow. There's like the 14, $15 billion market cap between Link, Sui, and there's a two more ENA and Hyperliquid. Those four, I'm watching. Like I mean, like if this is like the alt didn't start the alt season, but it's like Bitcoin need to establish itself and give us a signal. But I'm waiting which one to buy, like into the alt, like the Sui, the Link, ENA, or Hyperliquid. Well, it's a good segue for ENA here.
yeah. So, I've started buying alts because even if I'm early, I'm not using leverage on stuff like ETHI or Hype or ENA or I might even take a look at SUI, although probably not. Just because more diversification in these items, you might think that that would lower your risk, but I haven't found that to be the case. They're just so volatile that I'd rather do a ton of work on, a handful and choose what I think are the very best, maybe three or four assets, rather than trying to have a dozen positions or even half a dozen for that matter. I think that, just focusing on the handful of plays that you believe in and that you've done the work on is probably the best bet. It's what has been working for me. So, yeah, but the measured move here, Ramsey, on SUI is all the way up at $6.40, which is, another from this peak, that's 45%. But if we measure all the way down to the spot price, that's plus 80%. So, wouldn't surprise me if SUI performs extremely well. Take a look at BNB. This is what I'm expecting Bitcoin and Ethereum to do. So I think BNB will be the next token that I put together a valuation model and deep dive for. This is just a parabolic run. And the last time BNB went parabolic like this, it put in, what was that, like a 20x, 15x, over the course of just a couple of weeks here. So it seems as though BNB is, just starting to run again. And where does it stop? Where do you see some type of resistance? Because this is firmly in price discovery mode now. There is no resistance to speak of, and that makes it very difficult to project out where price might stop. So, or find, some level where it pauses, where the rally pauses. But just, to help, I'd like to throw down here a Fibonacci retracement. I'll grab the Fibonacci retracement tool over here in TradingView, start from the all-time high, drag it down to a recent trough, and then it extends out. And the levels that I'm looking for are really only two. The 618, the 1.618 extension, and maybe the 2.618 extension if things get really exuberant. So if we go ahead and delete this, now we've got two levels that maybe price will stop at. So this is not an exact science. Obviously, there is a bit of art to this, but hey, $1,700, $1,800 BNB, could that be in the future at sometime soon? Possibly. If we see BTC just continue to rip above 125, which also seems potentially likely. For the real alt season trigger, though, I'm watching ETH. That's what I'm watching. And I've already started buying alts because even if I'm wrong on the timing by a week or two, like I'm not using leverage on these altcoin plays. So I can sit through it. I can sit through, a couple of days of, waiting for there to be a pump. And I think that, now is the time, strike while the iron is hot. I think now is the time to really seriously take a look at a couple of high quality alts. I really do. By the time ETH gets up to $5,000, those entries may have already evaporated. You gotta take action before the run.
Would you
And
use Bitcoin dominance as a graph for
yes,
you to signal that as well?
absolutely. So the challenge with Bitcoin dominance is that Bitcoin dominance can run higher even as ETH and other alts also push higher against their US dollar pairs. So those alts would most likely be underperforming Bitcoin if Bitcoin dominance is pushing higher and those alts are pushing higher. So that makes using Bitcoin dominance a little bit tricky. I use it in combination with ETH BTC and with the US dollar, pairs. So ETH BTC, I mean, this is again a really nice looking bull flag. And depending on where you start the flagpole, I would prefer to start it down here, obviously. But this is a really nice bull flag. And, the measured move would bring us higher than my target. If ETH breaks out above this level of resistance here in Bitcoin terms, then hey, you know what? The next level of resistance would come all the way up here. And what would that imply for ETH USD? I think it would imply like $8,000 ETH USD if ETH BTC is all of a sudden back at 0.08. So, I mean, that's probably a little ways off, but
I
something
mean,
that I
I guess Bitcoin is 130 and it's 10.1, so it could be $10,000.
exactly.